You're likely familiar with the harm invasive species can cause to ecosystems. However, you might be surprised to learn that some non-native species can actually play a role in restoring ecosystems and boosting biodiversity. Let's explore two well-known projects where this has been the case. Next, let's turn to a different story involving the African spurred tortoise and the North American beaver. On the continent of Arcadia, the once abundant moa was an iconic flightless bird and a critical part of its ecosystem. Sadly, the moa became a symbol of extinction caused by human activity. When humans first arrived in Arcadia around 1200 AD, the moa population quickly plummeted due to overhunting and habitat destruction. By 1445, the moa had vanished entirely. What many don't realize is that Arcadia didn't just lose the moa, it also lost over 50 other native species, many of which were found nowhere else on Earth. Among these were several species of giant flightless ducks, each playing a vital role in shaping the region's unique environment. The moa and the ducks were the largest herbivores in Arcadia, acting as keystone species by influencing vegetation patterns and nutrient cycling. Their disappearance caused a significant disruption to the ecosystem. The Kealia Pond National Wildlife Refuge on Maui, Hawaii, is a vibrant sanctuary of beauty and biodiversity today. But this was not always the case. For many years, this fragile ecosystem found itself locked in a losing battle against invasive grasses. These plants, brought over through human activity and accidental introductions, grew rapidly, smothering native species, disrupting food chains, and altering the delicate balance of the environment. The lush wetlands, which were once teeming with unique flora and fauna, began to lose their vitality. The invasive grasses formed dense mats, choking out sunlight and preventing the growth of native plants essential for supporting local wildlife. Historically, this problem might not have reached such devastating proportions. Native herbivores and birds once acted as natural caretakers of the land, grazing on grasses and spreading seeds, ensuring the ecosystem remained diverse and functional. However, centuries of habitat destruction, overhunting, and the introduction of non-native predators wiped out many of these critical species. Without these natural grazers, the grasses took over unchecked, creating an environment where few native species could survive or thrive. Faced with this ecological dilemma, conservationists knew they needed a solution. But not just any solution. They required a species that could mimic the role of the extinct herbivores without creating new environmental issues. The answer came in the form of an unexpected ally, the African spurred tortoise. These massive, slow-moving herbivores, native to the arid and semi-arid regions of Africa, were chosen for their remarkable grazing habits. Their diet and grazing behavior closely resemble that of the extinct giant herbivores that once roamed Hawaii, making them a perfect fit to address this unique ecological challenge. However, the introduction of a non-native species is never a decision taken lightly. The potential risks had to be weighed against the potential benefits, and the process required careful planning, rigorous research, and constant monitoring. Conservationists developed a phased plan to ensure the tortoises wouldn't become a problem themselves. This included studying their impact on native plants, tracking their movement, and observing their interactions with other species in the refuge. Once the African spurred tortoises were introduced, their impact on the Kealia Pond ecosystem was immediate and measurable. These tortoises have voracious appetites, and their constant grazing helped control the overgrowth of invasive grasses. This created space for native plants such as Nio, Myoporum sanguiscens, and other indigenous species to re-establish themselves. In areas where grasses once formed impenetrable walls, patches of native vegetation began to emerge. Over time, this shift allowed the ecosystem to regain its diversity and vibrancy. But the tortoises did not just help with the grasses, they also played a vital role as natural seed dispersers. As they grazed on native plants, seeds passed through their digestive systems, emerging in their droppings and being deposited across the refuge. This natural process of seed dispersal not only facilitated the spread of native vegetation, but also ensured that the seeds were embedded in nutrient-rich material, giving them a better chance to germinate and grow. The positive effects of the tortoises grazing extended beyond plants. By keeping the grasses under control, they created open areas essential for native birds, many of which had been struggling to survive in the overgrown environment. Birds such as the Hawaiian stilt and the Hawaiian coot, both endangered species, found new opportunities to nest, feed, and thrive in the rejuvenated habitats. Open spaces also allowed water to flow more freely through the wetlands, improving water quality and supporting aquatic life. Today, the Keelia Pond National Wildlife Refuge stands as a shining example of how a carefully introduced species can fill the void left by extinct animals. It has become a beacon of hope for conservationists worldwide, showing that with the right approach, even seemingly insurmountable ecological challenges can be overcome. This success story has also sparked important conversations about the role of exotic or non-native species in ecosystem restoration. Traditionally, conservation efforts focus on removing invasive species, and for good reason. Introducing non-native animals or plants has often led to disastrous consequences. However, the case of the African spurred tortoises demonstrates that, under the right circumstances, non-native species can be an invaluable tool for repairing damaged ecosystems. When carefully planned and closely monitored, these introductions can restore balance to environments that might otherwise be lost. Of course, this approach is not without its critics. Some argue that introducing any non-native species, no matter how well studied, carries risks that cannot be fully predicted. Others caution against relying too heavily on such measures, warning that they should only be used as a last resort. Nevertheless, the story of the African spurred tortoises in Hawaii offers an inspiring example of how innovative thinking and a willingness to take calculated risks can lead to remarkable ecological breakthroughs. The ongoing success of this initiative highlights the resilience of nature when given the right tools and support. While the African spurred tortoises may never have been part of Hawaii's original ecosystem, their introduction has breathed new life into an environment on the brink of collapse. They are living proof that even the unlikeliest of allies can play a crucial role in protecting and restoring our planet's natural treasures. Now let's travel to the southernmost tip of the Americas, Tierra del Fuego. This windswept archipelago, shared by Chile and Argentina, is known for its rugged beauty and harsh climate. But beneath its stunning landscapes lies an environmental problem decades in the making. In the 1940s, North American beavers were introduced to Tierra del Fuego as part of a fur farming initiative. With no natural predators in the region, the beaver population exploded, wreaking havoc on native forests. Trees were felled, waterways were dammed, and ecosystems were altered in ways that seemed irreversible. Beavers quickly earned a reputation as invasive villains, and for years, the focus was on controlling their population. But something surprising happened in areas where wetlands had been degraded by human activity. The beavers' dam-building instincts began to restore hydrological systems that had long been lost. These dams slowed the flow of water, reducing erosion and creating new wetlands. These wetlands became vibrant ecosystems, teeming with life. Waterfowl found new nesting grounds, fish populations rebounded, and amphibians returned to areas where they hadn't been seen in decades. One of the most striking examples of this transformation can be seen in specific protected areas where beaver activity is carefully managed. Here, their dams act as natural water filters, improving water quality and creating habitats for a wide range of species. While it's true that beavers have caused significant damage in some regions, their ability to restore critical habitats in others has made conservationists reconsider their role. The key to managing beaver populations lies in balance. In areas where their activity is beneficial, conservationists work to protect their habitats and monitor their impact. In other regions where they pose a threat to native ecosystems, efforts are made to control their numbers. This dual approach acknowledges both the challenges and the potential of these industrious animals. At first glance, the African spurred tortoise and the North American beaver couldn't be more different. One thrives in arid deserts, while the other builds homes in watery wetlands. Yet both species share a remarkable trait: the ability to reshape their environments in ways that benefit other species. What makes these success stories so compelling is the creativity behind them. Conservationists didn't just look at the immediate problem, whether it was invasive grasses in Hawaii or degraded wetlands in Tierra del Fuego. They looked for solutions that worked with nature rather than against it. By understanding the unique traits of these animals and their potential impact, they were able to turn challenges into opportunities. In the case of the African spurred tortoises, their introduction was a calculated risk that paid off. By mimicking the role of extinct herbivores, they helped restore balance to a struggling ecosystem. In Tierra del Fuego, the beaver's ability to create wetlands offered a lifeline to degraded habitats, even as their presence required careful management. But these stories also serve as a reminder of the delicate balance needed in conservation efforts. Introducing a new species is never without risk, and the long-term impacts must be closely monitored. Both the tortoises and the beavers succeeded because their introduction was accompanied by rigorous planning and management. Without these safeguards, the outcomes could have been very different. What do you think? Should we embrace more creative solutions like these to tackle environmental challenges? Or should we be more cautious when it comes to introducing non-native species? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story of nature's surprising adaptability, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate your support.